Alright, wanted to kind of show you how I park my boat in Windrose. So this is my main ship here, uh, Macbeth. This is my second boat here, Lady Macabre. She is kind of just backed in here. I manually backed her in there. And that's where she has been parked since I've gotten my new ship. My third ship, I don't know, let's see if I spawn it in. My starter ship, if I spawn it in, where is it going to spawn? This is my first ship here, so we will spawn it in and see where she gets put. Okay, so she's way off over there, not close to the dock, which is kind of what I expect, right? If I just randomly spawn my boat somewhere, it never ends up near the dock, you know, right? So there's that. If I spawn it over here somewhere, it's going to be, yeah, out there somewhere, and I can jump in the water and try to get to it, but pain in the butt. And so yeah, so I don't like that. Like I said, I was trying to use pillars initially as like, okay, if I keep my character lined up behind these pillars and maybe line him up so that he's kind of generally facing this direction and hit summon. Okay, ended up over here. Super, okay, that's close to the dock, but like why over here? Could have to do with my starter boat being put there, but we'll try to summon it in the way I've been doing it recently. So rather than get lined up with these poles or these beams on the dock, I now run down the side of the beams, just off to the side, and try to keep my character generally facing pretty straight. Hit summon, and there you go. That summons it in super close, generally to the opposite side of the dock. Close enough for me to be like, I can accept this, right? I could, if this was real life, I could easily probably reach across and get to that ladder, right? If I'm trying to RP this. So we'll go ahead and run around to the other side, and we'll see if we can replicate it on this other pier. Run around over here. Again, I don't line myself up with the posts. I want to be just off to the, on this side, I'll be just off to the right side of these posts, keeping my character running as straight as possible. So moving, kind of just tapping W here. And you can get, once you get this down pat, you don't have to be as precise about this. But now that he's running down the right side of the left beams, if I hit K, summon, there you go. And it will put it on the opposite side of the pier, generally pretty close to the pier. Again, close enough for me to be like, this is acceptable. And so one thing you need to make sure of is that if you're doing this, it really is super dependent on the way your character's direction is moving. And I won't even say which way your character is facing, right? Because if I kind of like move my character over here and kind of put him here, it looks like he's more or less facing straight down the dock, right? But he's not. It's relative to the direction you're moving. So if I move him further straight, right, and you can see I'm kind of moving down the dock, and if I just stop him on the dock now, his body's not facing this line or this crack that goes down the dock. It's facing at about a 45-degree angle off to the side, and that's kind of important, right? Because it's relative, your ship generally spawns in relative to your direction of motion, right? So I'm kind of moving right now off to the left at about a 45-degree angle. You see my character's body's almost facing straight down the dock, but I was moving at about a 45-degree angle off this way. So if I summon my boat this way, you can see that's where it's going to be facing. So the biggest thing is that I have found is you want to make sure, one, your direction of movement is always parallel to the direction you want your boat facing, or in line with the direction you want your boat facing, depending on where you're parking it. But if I move parallel down these posts, and you can kind of see I'm keeping my cursor almost lined up directly on the edge of these posts, kind of just running straight down the pier on the right side. If I summon it now, there you go. So I put it right on the left side here. Like I said, it's relative to the direction your person's character is facing, and it generally will put it on the opposite side of the pier. So we'll do that again on the other side. Show you one more time. This side's a little different. You can't keep your cursor on the pier because it'll just want to constantly be moving your character to the right. The cursor is slightly off center, which is a little annoying, but you obviously you get used to it. And so now if I'm running down the edge of the dock here, pretty straight, if I hit K, summon, there's my ship. So that's generally what works for me. Obviously, make sure whatever you've got in the water, you've got plenty of water. It's deep enough. You're not on the rocks. Your boat's not going to spawn on the rocks, even if you try to get it to spawn on the rocks. So if I go over here and I, hit summon, it's obviously not going to spawn it in here. It's going to spawn it somewhere off. So make sure you've got plenty of deep water. Make sure there's no beach below you, no rocks below you. And then just kind of move off, run down the side of the opposite side that you're trying to spawn your boat on, summon it, and there you go. It'll put it generally on the other side of the pier, close enough to basically climb directly on board. So that's my tip for summoning your ship. Hopefully it works. Let me know in the comments if you have questions. I can create another video letting you know how I built this dock and the dimensions of the dock. But generally, I think it's going to work for pretty much anybody that uses this technique. Thanks for watching.